On July 16, 1945, the United States government executed Project Trinity. Project Trinity was the first nuclear weapons test in history. Taking place in the New Mexican desert, the military, specifically the Army, oversaw conducting this weapons test and ensuring they found a completely secluded location to do so, a place with virtually no inhabitants. What the Army failed to do was to completely check each and every cave and ravine in that desolate wasteland. But we'll come back to that soon enough. Let me tell you a different story in order to set the proper mood. This is a story of what happens when things don't go quite according to plan. There are certain times in history when a baby is born different from the rest. Some are naturally more intelligent, some are simply more attractive. Some, however, have differences that are not appealing. Extra fingers or toes, for example. The lack of an eye, a humpback, all these things are called mutations by the modern world. Back in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, mutant were the pariah of society. Parents would abandon them at churches. People would jeer and spit at them as they passed by. It was only in solitude or in a group of similar persons that they found peace. Communes began springing up in different parts of the country. All secluded parts of the country, such as deserts, underground caves, or small islands off the coast. They were the refuges for the outcasts of society. That all changed in 1945. Project Trinity was the starting point for a couple of significant things. Obviously, it was a trigger of the end of World War II and the massive arms race against the USSR during the Cold War. Also, it was the beginning of a massive genocide you may otherwise never have known about. Near the blast site of Trinity was a community of nearly 45 mutants. All of them were killed instantly by the destructive power unleashed in that first successful blast. In 1946, there were two more test fires on a commune in the Marshall Islands in 1951. Another blast in the Pacific region caused severe radiation sickness and death to another large group of mutants. In 1952, Operation Ivy Mike killed over 150 mutants on another small Pacific island. The final documented test detonation took place on March 1st, 1954. This blast condemned Castle Bravo and was the most detrimental of all. After discovering how many mutants had moved back to the Marshall Islands, the government decided it was time to make their point finalized. They detonated a 15 megatron bomb in shallow water just off the island shore. Radioactive water vapor and bits of metal entered the atmosphere around the island and fell back into its shores. The death toll was nearly 120 mutants. Men, women, and children all suffered from radiation sickness. Many developed cancers and spent the rest of their short lives in pain. The lucky ones were killed by falling bits of metal from the sky. What the government doesn't know is that some mutants, not many, but some of us, survived.